Hello friends, Heidi here from Rain Country. God is good all the time. And so I know I said my next garden update was going to be front yard, but right now there's a lot of stuff in our front yard because we're getting that roof, the old roof stripped off, going to put on the new one. So there's a lot of stuff laying out there. So I decided I'd go ahead and do the deck garden. Now there's going to be some hammering and some other noise. We're just going to have to work around it. Rains are coming tonight, and we've only had a few nice days to actually work on that roof, and so we got to get that underlayment down and get it covered up before the rains hit us tonight, and it's going to be raining for the rest of the week from what we can see. So anyway, I'll go ahead and do a quick tour of my deck garden so I can at least get this up, and hopefully I can try to keep doing these garden updates. But just keep in mind, people, we got to try to work around what's going on out here weather-wise and with our roof, and I'm doing the best I can. So anyway, let's get to this tour. And so right here we have a Cody on his blanket. So this gets moved around through the day depending on where the sun is hitting. It's morning time right now, so that way is east, and so we've got a lot of shade on the deck from the grapevines all around, and I'll do a closer view of that in a bit. So anyway, so same thing happens when I'm using the solar oven in the morning. I'll start it over here, and then it gets moved around the deck. Sometimes I'll set it up on the table if the table is getting a lot of sun. And my solar oven's right over here next to our little wood pile that we keep close to the house. So it's been very, very weird weather, very cold at night. So if the sun comes out, it gets warmish in the day. And we don't have our wood stove right now because of the work going on the roof. And so we've actually had to turn our electric heat on in the evenings for the first time in years. So another benefit of having the best of both worlds, being partially off grid, so we can have solar as a backup when we don't have public power as a backup when we don't have solar or wood. So anyway, so what's going on right here? So this is the only strawberry plant I have that has not given me any berries yet. Out of all those ones that I bought, though the leaves are ginormous. So right here in this tall, skinny pot that Patrick built for me years ago, this always sits in this corner, and I always plant beans in it and then let them climb up like you've seen here. But this year I decided to put peas in there as well. So I've got beans and peas. Everything is very behind because of the very cold weather. The peas, I did finally get a couple off of them the other night. Not these ones, but a couple more plants over there on that corner I'll probably show you. But anyway, so this climbs up there. I've got these chains that I took off the hanging pots, and I'm gonna, before I had yarn, you can actually still see a piece of yarn up there I haven't cut off yet. And before I was using yarn for the beans to climb along, but now I hung those chains up there. They look a little cooler and obviously are a little more sturdy, and so I'm gonna have those peas and beans. And you can see right here, sorry Dougie, I've got beans wrapping around the peas. So this is the first time I've tried this. It's going to be kind of interesting to see what happens. It looks to me like what's happening is the peas are grabbing onto the chains. See, I've got more chains hanging here from hanging pots. This is the only hanging pot I'm still using as a hanging pot. And it's got one little dwarf nasturtium just doing so in there. But anyway, this is the first time doing it this way, using the chains and the peas. And so the peas, shoot up first, and now that gives the beans something to grow around. Peas grabbing onto the chains. So this will be interesting. I've got flowers. I love these peas. Look at this, how beautiful this flower is. And some of them come in a darker shade of purple, and they're just neat. Then this is where I grow some of my pansies, and I do need to get out here and harvest them. This is a new one that was very, very leggy when I bought it. And so it's still, I just got it, and so it's still kind of just coming along. I've been, like some of these older ones that were already on here. I don't usually use these ones. The first ones that are on there, I'll just pinch them off and toss them. And then let it, this is a new flower, so I'll use this one. But I'm trying to get it to bush out. So again, that's a new plant. And so these are coming along. So remember, people, petunias are edible. I add them to my salads. They're not the best tasting. They just don't have a very strong flavor. They're just kind of more of a grassy flavor. But they adds color to salads, so they're they're pretty to grow and they're nice to have on hand. So just make sure you pick off all those dead flowers, and then you'll see a whole bunch of new blooms come in, just like you will with your pansies. Okay, so let's go this way. Obviously, we've had this, I want to talk about this real quick. We've actually had this set here, and then there's a rocker that goes with it with the same cushions. And this is actually a new parasol. We finally had to get rid of the one that came with the set, but we've had it for maybe 20 years. We've had it for a long time, and it's been a good set. And it just faded. It got really faded, and I simply did use some leaves from around the property. We have ferns here. This is a creeping buttercup. I hate it so much, but I love using the leaves for when I'm painting and trying to add texture to something. And that's what I did here. And I have a video I did 2 years ago. We bought this one newer, and then when it got faded, you can't see the top of it. You can kind of see from underneath with the light coming through. I did the same thing to that I did to these to just make it look nicer and extend the life of it. So I have a video on that. I'll go ahead and link to up there. But yeah, I used the same method to do these chairs, and this set has lasted us for a very long time, even in our weather. We don't keep the cushions out in the wintertime, and at night we fold them in and they stay protected under the umbrella. Okay, so let's walk over here, and my blueberries have been getting ripe. Look at all these. Look at all of them. They're way behind though too. I should have been picking them a long time ago, and I only just started picking them a couple days ago. But I'm going to this year, usually I freeze them up, but this year I'm going to combine them with my rhubarb and make some blueberry rhubarb jam and or syrup out of them. So I'm pretty excited about that. So yeah, the grapes, now every year I cut them way back. I cut them a little farther back every year, and they just explode even more when I do that. So just something to know about grapes. It seems like the more you hack on them, the more they want to explode. I don't see any little grapes in here. That's weird, because I do have grapes growing all over the place. There's some here. Obviously, they're just in their flower stage right now. Let's see if we can focus in. There we go. There's a bunch right in there. And they tend to hide in there. There'll be a whole bunch. So I actually have to keep, if you can see, this is cut, because this comes out and shades everything. It goes so crazy now that I have to actually keep this pruned back throughout the season, or it just totally overshadows. It starts to climb along my clothesline that I have here, and it gets crazy. So anyway, I have a total of 6 blueberry shrubs in pots. They've been in here for probably about 6 years, I think. Here's the calendula I have on the deck has been the first ones to really start coming along and getting flowers. I got my first flower off there the other day. All my other calendula is way behind. But I should start seeing a lot more blooms off of these. There's another one of those dwarf nasturtiums I like so much. Not sure what the deal is with this weird red gooseberry I got. It exploded when I put it in this pot. Then it started looking kind of funny. It gets plenty of water. But then now it's got a whole bunch of new leaves. Only had one berry, and that berry disappeared. So I don't know what happened to it. If a bird ate it or what. Oh, and then Patrick made all these caddies for especially the bigger pots, so we can roll them around as needed, especially when we need to put a new coating on the deck, a protective coating. So the grapevines go down. They kind of serve almost as a handrail, because we never got a handrail in here when Pat did that. I never got around to it. So then the grapevines kind of both toughen up, and they sort of serve as their own handrail coming down the stairs out into the main garden area. Anyway, coming around here, you see more grapes, grape flowers, really, coming along. Here's another blueberry, and another blueberry, and another blueberry. And then all the way across here, I know I had a whole bunch of grapes growing in here too. Last year, I cannot believe how many grapes I had in here last year. But they'll be easier to see later on. Right here. Right here. So I really love it when it does this, because it makes the back deck just super private. So, oh, and here's some of, this is typically what the rest of my calendula looks like. It's just like, seriously? And then here is a marjoram. And now it didn't even dawn on me until this year that marjoram and golden oregano have a very, very similar taste. So I've been actually mixing them together. And this cute little thing, I can't remember what it's called, but a lady, really nice lady that met up with us at the homesteading fair in Rochester, she gave me that. She made starts out of her own plants and gave me that. It's a succulent, and I do not remember what she called it, but it is edible. I did try it. It has an interesting flavor, a little different. And then here, I mean, some of the stuff I'm showing you is not necessarily garden related, but then again, it kind of is. Here, we just pulled this out. I'm going to be, the first thing I can every year is a big pot of chili using the beans out of my storage, the dry beans. So when I do that, I have the pot all ready to go. I just got to fill my jars and get them in here. But what I have in here right now to help fill up space is I also will take more kidney beans and soak them and then can those too, so I'll have them ready for making tamale pie. And then that gets those dried beans used up, because otherwise the longer you let dried beans sit, they get harder and harder and harder and almost impossible to cook. And then they're not good for much but making flour. So since I'm here, I'll go ahead and do a quick pan for those who are new. That whole roof, this is Pat's shop. It's 1,200 square foot shop. I'm standing with my back to the house right now. And so we have all our solar panels up there. We just decided that was the best place to put the solar panels, even though it isn't the best place for catching light. It's just the best place all around for appearance, because this faces into our backyard. And anyway, the solar panels, you can't see it, but it goes all the way across. And we have a video that he did a year or two ago on our setup, and I'll go ahead and link to that up in the corner. One more thing I wanted to show you before I leave the deck is, it looks like one of my chickens pulled this up. This is a new green onion that I just recently ended up with. But like my son, when he gets green onions, and he uses them up, sometimes he'll give me the bases to them, and I plant them, and I just let them, like this green onion's been in here for a couple of years, and I just keep harvesting off of it and using it. But some of them didn't come back this year, so I need to get some more. And anyway, that's what I do with green onions. I don't start them from seed. I just get people give me the bottoms bases of them, and I just plant them and then let them grow and do their thing. So anyway, this is one of the ways I use my hanging pots, since hanging pots don't do well here. They might look nice, but anyway, turn them upside down. It helps keep the chickens from getting in there and digging this up. I made a mistake. There's a pile there of taking this one off, and a chicken got in there, and that's why there's dirt all over back there, and dug all that up. But having the hanging pots just turned upside down over the top gives room for things to grow, but still keeps the chickens out. Doesn't keep their beaks out though. You have to put two on to do that, which is what I did here. And they can't get their heads in through that if you overlap them like that. There's a lot going on here. I want to do a whole separate video just on this later on. And but yeah, so that's what it's looking like right now. But I don't mind talking about this because the deck, that one's a pretty quick one. Oh, by the way, here's what the grapevines look like from this side. Over here so you can see that going up the steps. And oh, by the way, this is my hose. I'm not done watering my blueberries. So that's the rainwater. That hose goes to our rainwater, which is that I showed in another video right here. I think it was my greenhouse update. But anyway, this back here is our thornless blackberries. This was started out as a small little plant that someone gave us as a gift. I'm thinking about moving those if we can. They're in a pot, but I know they're not really still in the pot, and we need to get them out of there. So I'm thinking about moving those over to our little piece of property that we bought. And then same thing with this plum tree. It's in a pot, quote unquote, because I'm pretty sure it's grown through the pot by now. We've had that happen with a couple of fruit trees we had in there. But look at this. It's got plums. The one we planted out front last year was in a pot, and it got the most plums. And it only has one on it this year. But I've been picking strawberries off of this. So this is one of the brand new strawberry plants. So this is definitely one I want to make babies from. So when it starts shooting out runners, I'm going to be saving those and letting those letting those go. These have been pretty good. I wish I wish I would have tagged them so I knew which one was which as far as that goes. So, and then my lettuces have been doing very well along this wall here. Years ago, I used to try to plant stuff down here. I do have garlic that I just let do its thing down there, and that's mostly just to keep pests out. But I see it was going crazy, but it looks like the chickens have been getting there and digging it up, but it's not a big deal. Oh, and by the way, I have peas planted in this pot next to the plum tree, so they're climbing up the plum tree. See that? And then my grapes extend across there behind those blackberries. And I actually just recently came through and pruned a lot of this back because it was all going up here, and it's starting to shade out my greenhouse over here. See my peppers? That one right there. It's the one that I started from the seeds that I got from Ellen. Anyway, and I see blackberries forming on here. Look. So, and they're pretty decent blackberries. But yeah, I'd like to move these ones out. And then there are other blackberries out at the property. I saw both Himalayas and evergreens. Himalayas are the best tasting ones, but they have the most lethal thorns. But, you know, the harder they get to, the better they taste. And then anyway, one of the big things I wanted to show you was, so I have another pot here. And this was, again, a new thing. I did beans in here last year. I have beans in here, too, this year, but the beans have just been so slow. But the peas just finally started to explode, and this has been, you know, I'm finally getting peas really late in the year. But so the same thing here, these are just lights, but the peas can use those lights, and they've been climbing up this chain. And so again, more hanging pot chain, so it's working good. And then it just adds more color to the end of the corner of the greenhouse there. And then since I'm here, I'll just go ahead and do a peek through the window here at, nice. The birds. Anyway, you see my tomato plants are about 5 feet. And in fact, those ones back there look like they're 6 feet now, because I know I have to look up to those for sure. And some pepper plants, the cilantro. And by the way, those cilantro flowers, I decided to just on a whim taste one this year. And then I had to eat some more. There's like this, I guess it's the pollen or something that's on the top of them that's very sweet. So when you first taste it on your tongue, it's very sweet. And then you chew it, and then you get that spicy kind of coriander flavor. And oh boy, they're good, those flowers. So I'm going to start adding them to salads. Anyway, no ripe tomatoes yet. They're coming along, but I got quite a few tomatoes growing in there, but no ripe ones yet. These cold nights have just really made things pretty sluggish. What you doing, Claire? How's my sweet girl? Peep, peep, peep. There's my chicks, my babies. I don't know why they're hanging out over here, but they've been integrated for a while now with the bigger chicks, and they sleep up in the roost with them and run all over the yard. But sometimes they just like to hang out back here in this little section here between the potato and squash patch, which also has peas growing in it, and their coop. And by the way, when these guys get in the sun, especially I think that one right there that's standing up on that 4x4, the light hits her feathers and they turn bluish green on the ends. So beautiful. Very pretty. These are the black sex links for those who are curious. Okay, well, that's my garden update for this week. I don't think I'm going to get 2 garden updates up this week because there's just too much going on around here. But if I can, I'll try to squeeze in another one. But anyway, yeah, so the deck's come along. It's beautiful. This is one of the areas that's looking really great. Oh, and I did want to do one more thing, since I don't know when I'll be able to do a front yard garden update. I'll go ahead and insert a picture right here of what my potato patch looks like, because I'll be digging those up here shortly. Some of them I know are ready right now, and I think I'm going to give them one more week, and then it's time to dig them up, and then things are going to look totally different out there. So yeah, those will be, I'm not sure if I'll get to that update before I dig those up, so I wanted you to see what those look like. And then other things are coming along good. It's kind of a half and half. Some things are really, really far behind, like the corn and the beans and the calendula, and then other things are exploding. So it's, some things like the blueberry, like the grapes, they don't seem to mind. It's crazy. You think they would, but they are not minding this weather. I'm having a hard time keeping up on them. Okay, Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching. Take care and God bless.